Hey guys, I'm early. Better early than not late. Oh, cool. Hey, Galena, Joycey, Cheshire. Sorry I missed y'all on Tuesday. We did those journals for, what, 3 hours? I wonder if I can find mine. Da, 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 da. It was a very fun event. So what have y'all been working on today? I'm still not feeling 100%, but man, poor Randy, he's been sick since last Wednesday, and this guy never gets sick. He's got upper respiratory something or other with a cough that wakes him up at night, so he ends up sitting straight up on the couch, and he's in there now getting a couple hours with the babies. They usually wake him up, though, before he's ready to get up. And I got a little bit of the cough and a little bit of the congestion, but I don't feel like hammered dog shit like he does. So anyway, we've just been lazy. Guess I need to get my phone set up. I got a notification. That's good. There we are. Were y'all tired the other night? I don't know that any of y'all were in on it, were you? Joycey, were you on the side? And Beth. Two of the 10 didn't make it because of technical glitches. I was exhausted. I don't like this getting old stuff. In my mind, I'm still a Foxy 50. That looked pretty good back then. Hey, Wendy. We're going to have a low-key day over here on the Vic channel today. Thank you, Cheshire. On the twit. I appreciate that. I didn't even send out my little ad today. I don't think people look at them because they're the same twice a week, but except for the verbiage. Who knows what works? And if you worry about it, you drive yourself crazy. I know it's not the worst I've ever felt. I feel pretty good, but coughing takes it out of you. That's weird. I know. YouTube. And just about the time we think we've got it all figured out, they change. Hey, Beck. That's okay. Y'all were busy. I think that's the first time I've watched you all the way through, and that was fun. I don't know how you get your stuff gathered up so quick. You know, kind of like, okay, now we're going to use masking tape. Well, mine sits right beside me, but okay, now we're going to use string. Hello, I'd have to spend 10 minutes looking for string. Hey, Lena. Lena and I are going to do a little fun project after she gets moved back in her house. And that we'll describe it after we decide what it's going to be. So Lena's got supper done already, and she's just settling in for her evening. I want to see how much of a delay. Oh, 3 seconds. That's not bad. See, is that the hand of a 70-year-old? I don't think so. Mm. Well, we appreciate you always staying up for us, Miss Anna. Did you work on the house today, or were you in the studio? Damn it. While y'all slip in, I'm going to go get a cough drop so I don't do that through the whole thing.
Darwin knows.
Okay, I'll see y'all in a couple hours. Okay, I'm back. The kids are. I got something for choking. Hey, Gail. Button. Let me just say this. I'm not getting old gracefully. I hate it. Except for the not working part. I hate it when those little ones are sick. We'd be about ready. Already buffering? That's not a good sign. Hey, Amy. Glad to see ya. Mine aren't too bad. I'll just go. Liver spot. Isn't that an ugly way to describe that? I think they're little dots of suntan from Italy. That's what I'm going to call them. I guess I'm the only person in the world. I do not have allergies, knock on wood. Of course, I live in an area that I was born and raised in, so supposedly that's supposed to make some difference. So for here ever after, these are called Italy spots. Well, damn it, Gail, you just blew my theory all to bits. And they say too, if you take honey, if you use honey from local beekeepers, that's supposed to give you some immunity. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. Some days I don't think I'm an artist, but we're not going to talk about that either, are we? I'm going to do a quick flip through of the book I did the other day. I already had this composition book. I'm going to move that paint because I know what's going to happen. When Shannon Green's first JB5, there are 100 pages in one of these cheap composition books. So we glue 5 of them together. So you glue one, paste it to the others. Glue another one, paste it to the others. So you do that through the whole book. And we were using a watered down PVA or Elmer's. So when those pages got wet, I mean, they would just wrinkle. You can kind of see here. I tried ironing them first. And in my first journals, I decided it wasn't a big deal. But for some reason, this one I wanted to be flat. And I had these neon papers. I've had them kicking around since I first did jelly printing. And I'm on kind of a little kick to use up some of this old stuff. Or I'm going to have to throw it away. So anyway, I'm using up an old composition book. It was ready to use. I'm using up old paper. And this is coffee stained paper towels from the time Randy was out of the country, and I made 2 pots of coffee that went off in the floor. So I had all those. So I used each of those here. And being that his mother is Japanese, I was always entranced with Japanese before, Asian stuff, but even more so since we've been married. Anyway, they have an art form called Boro, Boro, and it goes back, I think, to the 15th century, where they did not have fabric making capabilities, and a lot of their fabrics were imported. So when something wore out, particularly with the peasants in the fields, and they wore a lot of indigo dyed, almost blue jean canvas type material, and when they would get a hole in it, they would just patch it, and they would use this white running stitch. And of course, there's a specific way you do it. If it crosses like that, you don't have a stitch in the middle, you have a blank spot in the middle. So, you know, they did plan it artistically. But they'll have all these things on, and they'll all just be patches on top of patches. You ought to look it up. There's some cool stuff. So that was the theme for what I was doing. And I did prep a little bit because I've done 3 of the JB5s strictly by the rules. I printed a whole lot of Japanese fabrics, made prints of them like this. And I printed a lot of, I've got those right here. The Boro. See how it's just ragged and they just stitch around it. Can you see that? Good enough. And worn fabric, it just wears till it's threadbare. And I printed those on onion skin. So anyway, that's all scattered through here. And I didn't plan colors for background, but I got to confess, I put my little things together first. I thought, you know what? If you're going to fussy cut out of a magazine, this ought to be legal too. So I just did what I thought were some Japanese inspired collage pieces. And of course, you know me, I've got to have my goddess writing. And they do kind of blend in, and it does look like it's all patterned, which I wish I had been a little bit more like, I think it was Colleen who had white space planned on hers, and they really looked good. I had so much fun with the blue paint, I got a little carried away and lost most of my background stuff. But it is a fun, here's a good piece of Boro. It looks like dirty jeans, you know, jeans that are stained. Another coffee stain piece. I had trouble with the white pen, but I found a Molotow that worked pretty good. I thought I had a Posca, but I didn't. I'm in the Art Snack subscription box, so I have a whole collection of odds and ends of pens. And this mark is made with this guy. And I didn't rinse it out real good, so it's gotten a little crispy. I did rub it off on a baby wipe, so next time I use this, I need to make sure I get it to the sink. This is something I got at Hobby Lobby for on sale for $1 or $2. I used some origami papers that I've had forever, so again, using up my stash. This writing ended up looking pretty good. That's just crooked, isn't it? Here's some more of the Boro. And there you have it. It was really a fun day. A friend of mine who is not an artist but would like to be, kind of, she said, I don't know how y'all got that organized because it just came off like it was practiced. I said, well, it kind of was practiced. Jean and Kathy went online 4 or 5 times that weekend before so that we would know what we were doing. So anyway, that's my book. I did, Carol. I had fun. Yes, Button, I think that is it. I love it. Oh, thank you, Gail. This time I used my Uhu stick, and I love this stick. In fact, I've only got one left, and that one, and I will have used 12 in a year. So, you know, that's not too bad for $20. So I'm just going to order another 12 from Amazon and keep on trucking. Yeah, my first books have real nice texture. And all my pages that I did the blue paint in, the frugal me said, oh my God, no, you can't use that in this journal. You know, the expensive, but I've had it like 8 years. So it's just got odds and ends. This goes back to when I first did any mixed media. And I had a tough time figuring it out. But this is from Cece's class with the Schaefer. I knew I'd forget it. The markers that bleed. Crap, what are they called? You know what I mean. Elegant Writer. Roses are my nemesis, and that's why I'm doing one today. I'm an undisciplined artist. Whatever I feel like doing that day is what I'm going to do. So today it's gouache. And I read the other night about got some not so good texture in there. Clear gesso so that I can do oil paint. And this is oil paint, but I did not have gesso on. So I'm going to use up this book. Anyway, what was left on my blue from the JB5, I just smeared it in this book. And I had a lot of paint left, but I didn't waste it. And it doesn't matter what goes on here. I mean, the blue can be covered up or it can be used. I know a pastel artist who, when he was doing a public demo, he'd stand up there with a 2 by 3 foot piece of paper. And the first thing he'd do would be pick up a blue pastel and just make a Z mark all the way through it. And everybody would gasp. And then he'd go on and paint like the blue wasn't there. But it showed through in spots, which gave his finished product a lot of variety. So I've got some good pages to work. And I didn't wash the paint down the sink. And I used the Delusions paint that's almost dried up on me. So no point in saving that, huh? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I missed one. Maybe not. Nope. Not too bad. Those can just be glued down or taken off. And deli paper doesn't make as good of a protector as wax paper does. It tends to stick. We've got some good mark making going on here. Just use a credit card to put it on with because it is so thin that it dries pretty quick. Here's where I was getting bored. Use up that paint, damn it. And then I started doing some stuff in the back a long time ago so that the book would even out on the spine. So I worked from back to front some. And I've got a great background. Isn't that a pretty color? Look, isn't that pretty? I love this bluish in the coffee color. Those, I may have to put faces on those. I know y'all think all I do is paint faces, but here's the gouache on a newspaper ad. I mean, a magazine ad. That was fun. So, I am ready to go, baby. All right. Let me check chat. Who did I miss? Amy, hi. I did, yeah. I would do JB5s again with you guys. Everybody was so nice. Hey, Devin. You know, if I had to pick a book from the 10 that were done, I couldn't. They are all so vastly different. Lena's has a theme, sort of, and Colleen's was just great with the white space. I think it was Colleen. I never can remember. See, y'all's names, your stage names are implanted in my brain. I've done it with matte medium, but boy, it takes a long time to dry. And Shannon says just use a glue stick and get a couple of dots on it and go all the way through. And then on your free time, go back and make sure they're all glued down good. You know what, Button? It's just paper. It's like I said, oh, I've got to save that big journal. That cost a lot of money. Well, so what? Now it's got paint down there and I can do something else on top of it. Holly. Yeah, Gail, Kathy switched from desk to desk. It was, it wasn't perfect, but it worked. Nothing's perfect. You're going to sit right up there. Well, let me show you first. Let me show you what we're doing. Excuse me. Here's my source photo, and all I did was searched for royalty free or Creative Commons in images and just downloaded a couple. It doesn't matter to me. I know how to take my own source photos, but sometimes that's not the object. And the other thing that's not the object for me is, do I want to draw it to prove to myself I can draw, which I know I can, or do I just want to get straight into the painting, which is what I did. So I'm going to turn this back so that maybe y'all can see it. Come on. Come on, come on. And this is the app for, now y'all can't see it. I had that sitting up there for the longest time. I did use my Etcher mirror. Jean got herself one, and I haven't heard how she likes it yet. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Take that off, and I put it in a safe place this time, so I don't lose it for 3 weeks. Now, no. Hoodoo, that's not going to work. Okay. That ought to work, but it's not. Maybe I can move the camera just a little. That doesn't do you much good. That's close to where I had it. Yeah, move this up a little bit. I'm trying to recondition some metallic clusters from Deco Art. They're getting there. At least I won't have to throw them out. So that's what those are doing there. Now, I'll link to this at the very first of the stream. This is a tool, and there are millions of tools to use to help you train your eye, and that's what it's all about when you are doing a painting. And that's where you have different sizes of squares, and in the beginning you don't really know what the thirds are that you want to put your focal point at one of those 4 areas. So this is a tool to help you do that, and hold it up to your picture, or even better, hold it up to a landscape when you're outside. It's got a value scale printed here, which comes in handy. And then this flips over, and you can look through the red screen, and it visually removes the color, which makes it easier to tell what value it is, because color is deceiving. You don't know how dark it is. For example, yellow can only go so dark. Like here, this is I did this 2005, headed to study with Charles Reed. So your yellows, the darkest they'll ever get is a value 5, and that's with this, that's Cad Yellow Deep, or, variant. Your lightest yellow is lemon. And by the same token, these darker colors only go so far without being lightened. So anyway, that's what this is good for, is to teach you what to look for. Okay? I'm going to put that right over here. Okay. Okay. Got out my gouache plate, which I love using it on a saucer like this. And one of the reasons I love it, even for watercolor, is because when these colors travel from the rim down to the bowl, you get some of the most beautiful color mixes, and you didn't do anything to get them. So these re-wet really well for me. I was pleased, because I was fully prepared to have to put new paint out. I'm using lemon yellow and a rose carmine type color, and my blue is going to be cobalt. Now, I do this a lot because it's really more fun. Ooh, that's honey seeping out of that M-gram gouache. Technically, you can mix just about any color you want with only 3 pigments. Come on. I hate caps that don't go on well. Not even bad messy. It's just not catching the thread. There. So anyway, I've got my tubes out. And let's go. You ready? Like I said, I already drew this using my etcher mirror. I don't care. I mean, you know I can draw. I know that if I were doing this in the field, and depending on what I was doing, like if it was oil, I wouldn't even have a master drawing. In oil, I just brush on my, because oils are typically not realism. If they are, you're going to be doing them in the studio. I don't want that one. And it is okay to use your really good brushes with gouache. All it is watercolor pigment. I had that under here. Watercolor pigment. That's it. And gum arabic. The more inexpensive brands, or the craft brands, use white to add to the paints in the tube so that when they come out, they're an opaque, because white is opaque in most cases. But how the expensive gouache brands do it is when they grind this pigment from a rock or whatever, and they grind it to different specifications depending on what the color is and whatnot. The gouache grind is a bigger pigment crystal. I'm autofocusing and I don't have it on. It's a bigger crystal, and a bigger crystal means less light gets through it. So that's one way that the bigger companies make their gouache. Then if you want to use a watercolor, which you can, like pick a watercolor from your watercolor kit that you really like, just add white to it and it will make it opaque. And that is basically the difference. Not much difference at all. It's not mystique. I've studied with people that said, oh, don't ever get white opaque near your watercolors. Why? I mean, I'm not going for, shut up, Vicki. An American Watercolor Society award that has to be perfect. Now, if you're using your good hair brushes, just don't dig around with that point. And I'm going to start right here. No reason. This is just going to kind of be my block-in phase. I did not draw in this area up here, so I'm just going to wing it. They're on the shapes. I see two triangles up in there. I see something right there. Baby, baby, coffee. I'm going to go ahead and cover in that part that's going to be gray. This board is a linen board that Gorilla Painter had on real good price one time, so I got it. I got them, and you know me, I'm going to try to save them. So I've just been deciding to use them. I didn't have any of them when I bought these. It seems to be repelling the gouache a little bit. I think that'll go away. Now my hope is that by just blocking in some of this main color. I won't lose my place, which I always do when I'm doing a rose. Golly. Come on now. When you use gouache traditional way, you do not use much, excuse me, much water, because you want it to be, traditional gouache is opaque. The more water you add to it, the more translucent you're going to make it, so you might as well use watercolor. Either is acceptable. Gouache was used in kind of in the beginning, in like early in the 1900s, as an illustration tool. And so you could paint your illustration, whether it be for a magazine or whatnot, on this, and it would be photographed, and then it didn't matter if it faded or went awry. The reason that this is so popular is because it's a matte finish, so they didn't have to deal with reflections. And of course now it's not that big a deal because we don't take photographs. I'm going to use some of the gunk because it's perfect. I couldn't mix it any better. And right in here. May have to. Not much pigment in here. It's funny how that's repelling whatever surface is on here for supposedly oil painting is not liking. All these neutrals, fabulous, because they're what make the bright colors sing. Just going to take it slow and easy. Painting shapes. I see a little triangle right there, so I'm painting that shape. And I'm hoping the second pass on this will take care of that. I'm taking poetic license with my colors, because what I see on this photograph is pretty much a gray, kind of a cool gray. All right, I need my own gray. I'm going to have to mix it. Equal parts. Of your 3. You don't want it to you don't want it to lean toward any color when you're making a plain gray. I mean, if you're wanting to, you can make it lean whichever way. And it gives you cohesiveness because it's the same colors you use throughout. Hoodoo, hoodoo, hoodoo. If you want a little more bluish color, then add just a little more blue. That's about the darkest dark. Come on, I just need a little bit of you. Come on. Very subtle. Let's see who's chatting. This is a quiet day, guys. Hey, Betty. Gail, this is a Gorilla Painter. Oops. They're the company that make the outdoor boxes I like so well. course, I pick up the piece without the label on it. Here we go. Extra fine oil primed, which is why it's not taking this water. Extra fine oil primed linen panel. And it's on MDF hardboard instead of chipboard. For use with oil media only. Guess what? Oh well. Wait. So do as I say, not as I do. It didn't dawn on me that would be the case. Well, y'all have learned from me not to be scared of anything, because I think I've pretty much made every mistake in the book doing these lives. I'm talking about a dirty palette. I know you didn't know we were talking about that, but I know a lot of watercolor painters who never clean their palette. They just work each session off the one before. I pretty much do that too. I'm still just looking at shapes. So easy to get lost. It's a good color right there. Now I'm cutting back into that gray shape with my lighter color. And I can work on that a little bit more after it dries. A little more white in here. I'm going to cover up some of that yellow. And then I've got a spot of almost pure white right here, but that's not going to show very much. Yep. Need a little bit of that old blue. I don't know what we're going to end up with. Okay, I'm gonna check chat. Take a break. Well, good, CB. I'm glad. I'm glad that I have. I'm glad that I've taught you guys a few things. You know what? I had to learn that lesson myself too. I had to learn um, that it was okay to use my supplies and not be afraid of wasting them. And as usual, I have picked something that's a little bit difficult. White. I shouldn't say that because I love to paint white. Red roses are hard because there are very few colors that contrast with red without looking dirty. Just remember that the beauty of gouache is the matte consistency, so you don't want to use too much water. And I say that because it's okay if you do. I just want you to know the difference. I was going to put it in the book that I put some of my other gouaches in, and I couldn't find it. So I just figured that meant I was supposed to do this. Seems to take the paint once it's been wet. Excuse me. I'm going to put this on kind of yellow tinted white. I am going to put a dark background on this. That is another thing that gouache shines at, is that dark backgrounds are easier. And I think y'all have heard me tell you before that whites are cool colors. And sometimes it's just not enough to get the bright touch that you want. So add a little yellow to it and it'll come to life. Because you can only go so light. And then you got to do something else. This needs to be a little greenish. Do, 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 do. And I have too much right here. A little bit handled in there. Now that is white. I'm lightening some of these darker areas with white. A little bit of yellow there. What's in here? Some more yellow. Now I'm going to get the bottom blocked in. And a beautiful color. And that's going to have to be a whole lot darker. But we'll tell that after we get the background in. Okay, I need some more of that green. I don't have that one even drawn in. And again, the beauty of your using just 3 colors is that they all go together. I have no idea if that's the right spot or not, but we're putting it there. And the other thing that's handy, yeah, I got that a little bit too high. Just you don't really have to think about it. And they all go together just like they were made to go together. And you can change the hue of those 3 colors. I mean, you can use carmine or you can use cad red, depending on your subject. That green come up in there. And we got a little bit of excuse me. Uh-oh. Well, that's okay because we're gonna delve off into doing our own thing here in a minute. And we need a 3rd leaf. Why not? Okay, now we've got our form. Excuse me. Well, I've got black. We're just going to go for it because I've got a big old tube of it. And I'm not going to put that on put it on the back side of my plate. Isn't that going to be a neat design when it comes off? Black is not a color that I use. Unless I sometimes mix with it, depending on the I'm gonna go ahead and use that one. Depending on the tone of the painting. Sure glad I noticed that it said for oil only. Oops. Slow down. My ADD's kicking in. This is like cream. It's real silky. Keeping water to a minimum. My brush was wet, and that's about it. Now we can see what we've got for a rose. And we are going to need 2 coats, I feel quite sure. Okie dokie. Put this dirty water aside. Now I'm going to make my gray again. Shannon Green posted a video today on Facebook that was incredible. It was an Asian woman making Chinese ink sticks. It's amazing. The subtitle would come on and then it would say, now leave that in the sun for half a year. I mean, you're not going anywhere very fast on that. I am mixing. I didn't mean to do that much, but we got it, so we'll use it. This is where you would use black effectively. It's when you want to dark and dull a color down. See how muted that is? And you just did it again, but that's okay. And it showed how she made the handles there. That's pretty good. Now this is the belly of the rose, so we're just going to put that in there. How she made the bristles. It showed how she went and picked the hair off the lamb. I'm just kind of running that on down into the black so it can be the illusion of the stem. Now that edge is real fuzzy. I'm going to use just a dab of black in that greenish color. Give me some yellow. Give me some yellow. Too much water. Ah. This is the one we made up. Y'all still with me? I'm using some of this reddish color to help tie it in with that underneath part. Okay, now leave that alone until it gets a little bit dry. All right, break. Gotta have some water. $5.19. It's about the time I turn into a pumpkin. Good Lord, y'all have been talking. Knock knock button. Thanks, Beck. Oh, thank you, Azure. Yes, that's it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Azure, you can make a link if you take off the www and make some spaces in between. One of the moderators should be able to make that active for you. I don't know how to do it. Thanks, Gio. Yeah, the black was covering real easy. The more water I put in it, the less. See where I'm going to have to do a maybe. See those white speckles? That'll have to be covered up. Hey, Jacqueline. Whew. Was somebody talking about me as whether I sell stuff? I missed that. I'm going to leave the leaves for now. Whoops. No. That one. That one. Come back up to the top of the rows now. Darken some values. Now, because this is going to lift real easy, you can just go in and just go in once. Bless his heart. I need a clean spot. All paintings are push and pull. You put it on, you carve back into it. You put it on, you carve back into it. Here's that color coming in handy again. Since I had that black out, I went ahead and used a little bit of it. See, now I've got something to key the white. You got to have something to contrast with it. I get real quiet, don't I? Keep losing my place. Easy way to get rid of something. Covering up my. Was trying to soften it a little bit and ended up taking it all away. Okay, time to make some more mud. Yeah, beautiful gray. All right. Back up, Buttercup. Here we go. I'm going to get this little doinky thing. I'm just painting shapes because if I tell myself I'm painting a rose, it'll all go away. Now don't panic. Some of these things are dark. And I'm going to have to make around these. If I want any white to really pop, I've got to make that darker. You know, it's darker because that's as white as I can go. And then we've got a white right up here. I want some of that. Okay, so I need to darken some grays to get that white. Still kind of got a little glow right in there. Now we need some. Where in the hell am I? Okay, that one's about right. Completely lost this one. Redrawn a little bit. I keep drying my brush off with a rag. Appreciate y'all sticking with me. I always worry about you being bored. Because any kind of real painting is very time consuming. You certainly don't get an instant gratification. And I don't care how much I work on this today, I'll come back tomorrow and see other things need to be fixed before I call it quits. And I'm getting a little bit too caught up in this because I've got those other issues I've got to solve. Bringing it all together up at the same time. And there is a cast shadow right there. Better check chat. Thanks, Jean. Thank you, guys. Bye, Kim. Bye, CB. Yeah, the black really makes the white stand out. That's why I went ahead and did black. Ooh, I needed to take a little break. I need to get a drink of water. All right. I saw somebody talking about starting gouache. Just get 3 colors. Get a nice blue, a nice red, and a nice yellow. If you need any help with that, let me know. And then if you decide you really like it, but Honest Injun, that's about all I use. Needs to be a little bit darker right there. This is a cast shadow right here, and they do have harder edges. I'm nitpicking now. Ooh, battery. I'm still not happy with these dark spots. Looks a little bit contrived to me. Well, I'm about ready to stop for now. Yeah, hey, Peg. Yeah, I'm in the zone. Bye, Gail. All right. I'm going to leave this here for now. I might come back in. Tomorrow's Friday. Maybe might drop in and work on it another session. There's still some drawing issues. They're not bad. It still kind of looks like a rose. So it can look better. But I got some gouache out of my system today, and we'll get that background painted again and finalize those leaves, and it's going to be just about done. Thank you guys so much. 2 hours, that's about all I paint at one time. I can do 3 or 4, but I really have to be in the zone. Come on, come on, come on. Turn this way. Turn that way so I can type. Thank you. That's not me. Well, shoot, I lost me. Where am I? That's pretty bad, when you lose yourself. I thank you guys, though, for letting me get in the zone. It really makes go well. I can't find me. Okay. You guys, you guys have a great night, too. And I'll be back on at some point. If not, it'll be next Tuesday. But we'll get this puppy finalized because I like the way it's going. I love you. Over and out. And I'm going to go take some cough syrup or do something so I don't get all choked up again. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for dropping in. Love you.